Hi everyone, it's Danny. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be painting an orange Calla Lily. Now let's get started. I already started out with painting my canvas black and I put my image on there already off camera. I'm just going to show you quickly how it's done. Not hard, very basic steps, very simple. Then I get my flat brush and I mixed up mostly white, yellow, and a very little bit of red to get like a tangerine color for my base tone for the flower. Just color that in or paint that in with a flat brush or whatever you have, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm always switching my brushes in and out, always. It's totally okay. Paint that in. I'm leaving those lines so I can see where I have to put my shadows later. Now I'm using that same mixture. I just added a little bit more red to get like a burnt orange for a shadow color. Right now I'm just kind of marking out where I want my shadows so I know where they go. It just keeps my mind straight. Now I'm getting a mixture of green oxide and a little bit of black, blending in the bulb of the stem or the bulb of the flower to the stem. I fixed this part up quite a bit because it just wasn't turning out the way I wanted it to. So this is definitely not the end all result. Just cleaning up my chalk marks here. They get in my way sometimes. Darkened up that color once again, added a little more red for the inside of the flower. Marking out where my shadows go, putting another base layer coat. And as you can see, I got another hole in my paint because impatient me, I didn't let it dry and my layers and I just kept painting over it. Putting another base coat on there. Another layer of that shadow color, that burnt orange. And then you blend it in with the base color. Using a flat bristle brush. I love my bristle brushes. They really help me move the paint around. Fixing up that stem again. This part gave me some problems here. I fix it quite a few times before I get it the way I want it. I let that dry. Fixing it up again, trying to get the shape back to the bulb of the flower. Blending it in with the base color orange or tangerine. And I didn't let it dry, so it was spreading on me. For me, that is the most difficult part, is letting it dry in between. I am very impatient and I just want to paint. So I think that it's dry and I try and nope, not dry. I struggle with that later on in this painting. I did so many layers right about here and I didn't let them dry and I kept getting the holes, the paint lifting off. So I do paint over that part of the flower in a little bit and then I kind of reset and try again, and I'm more patient with it. You really have to let your layers dry. It's very, very important. Now fixing up the bulb of the base of the flower again. And this time it works out a little better because I let it dry. With some green oxide, filling that in, blending it in so it's not such a harsh line where the stem and the flower meet. And this is where I go over it. I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me just start again, regroup, and try this again. And it's totally okay. I mean, it's your painting. You can do whatever you want. Just take your time. Repainting this. And then I let it dry. Using a round brush to fill it in this time. I think a number 6 round. Getting rid of the chop marks. And then putting another layer of green oxide onto that stem. Darker green. Adding a little dimension, a lighter green. Some highlights on that stem. The stem isn't really the focus, so I tried not to work on it too much. A little bit of black in that stem. Touching up the highlights. Highlights are just yellow and a little bit of white. Now going back in and doing some little shadows and finishing up this part of the flower with that darker orange mixture. It looks like red here. It's red, crimson red, and a very little bit of yellow to get a nice dark rich red-ish orange. Just painted the edge there so we could see it, of the fold of the flower. Did not like that shadow color. As soon as I put it on, I was like, no. I added a little bit of brown into that ready mixture, and I was like, I don't like that. Let's get rid of you right away. So going in with that darker red color. You can't really see the orange in it, so I'm just gonna call it red. When you mix it in with the orange, it turns orangey. Putting a little more shadow in here, that darker color. Blend it in with the main tangerine color. Blend, blend, blend. Putting those shadows back in, those darker burnt orange color. Just refining the edge here and the under part of the flower. I went in with some black because I didn't like the way that little curve was on the flower, so I just went over with some of that background black and fixed it up. Putting a little highlight on this part of the flower with yellow and a little bit of white. Blend that into the tangerine color. Same over here with the highlight. Blend it in with the base color. I'm using a small, I think it was a number 2 round brush. But you could really use what you're comfortable with. Synthetic bristles, more of a hog bristle brush, whatever you're comfortable with, you can use. Like I said before, I'm always switching my brushes to see what works best for me. Now I tested that main part of the flower to see if it was dry because I didn't want to make those same mistakes, and it was dry. So now I move into the middle of the flower, or the bottom center, and that is a mixture of red, a touch of brown, and yellow. You get like a burnt sienna color. Makes a very nice color. Go in with a little bit of that red. I love how the red looks with that tangerine. It blends so nicely and it just is so beautiful. I let that dry and go on to the other side. Back to my flat bristle brush. Another layer of the tangerine to blend it in with those shadows. Making sure it was dry. Putting some more shadows for contrast. Blend it in. So all it is blending and layering, blending and layering. Blending that in. Very light pressure. You really don't need a lot of pressure when you're blending. Once you get to know your paint and how it spreads around, you'll learn how to control it very easily. I use a heavy bodied paint. I just order mine from Amazon or Michael's. I go to Michael's sometimes, whatever I can find. Normally, I like heavy bodied paint. Which I thin out with water most of the time. I'll dip my brush into water and then I'll apply it to the canvas. So it spreads around easily. Going into that edge of the flower. Blending in that part again. It's just going back and forth to each side until it is appealing to my eye. When it looks right to my eyes and I'm pleased with it, then I know I'm done. But if something sticks out, then I obsess over it and I go back to it over and over again. And if you are an artist, you will get that. But there is a point where you do have to just walk away. Putting in some lighter colors here. It is that base color, that tangerine color I made, with a little bit of white and a little bit more yellow. Now I'm refining this fold of the flower. It kind of folds over a little bit. I'm just highlighting that, blending it in. Blend that little highlight in. Little lighter yellow mixture. Just a beautiful color. I really, really like it. That dark red mixture. Blending that in. Switch brushes to a smaller, it's a number 2 round brush. When you see me go in there with my finger, I always go in with my finger to smudge out those edges. Sometimes the brush doesn't work, so I just go in with my finger and it's perfectly fine. Brightening up that highlight there. Blend it out. Some more. Just over and over again. Just the same thing. Little sections at a time. There's no rush. you're just getting lighter and lighter every time you put a highlight. And this one wasn't quite working for me. That's why I kept going over it. It just wasn't turning out the way I wanted to. It was a little bit of a struggle. But I finally got it to a point where I was happy with it. Little highlight in there, which wasn't working out the way I wanted it to. They're starting to brighten up. Some yellow. I went in with some straight yellow afterwards and went over top of it, and then it started to look the way I wanted. Blended that in with that red mixture, red with a little bit of yellow. And after I was done this painting, of course, 9 times out of 10, whenever I finish a painting and I sign it, I go back later and I find things that were bothering me. And of course, I did it with this painting as well. I went back in and I fixed this part I'm working on right now. You'll see I added more of the base color to the top. Just refining the edge here. A little bit of white. If you want a really bright yellow highlight, go in with the white, just straight white. Let it dry and then go over that white with just yellow, and it is so bright and it's just a beautiful, beautiful color. Now putting in the center, what is that called? The stamen? Is that what it's called? I'm not too sure. The stamen of the flower? Sure hope so. And that is a mixture of yellow, a little bit of brown, darker towards the bottom. And then I went in with yellow, straight yellow, and then a little bit of white for the highlight. Getting rid of those chalk marks, just with some black. Now this is where I signed it and I was finished. And I was like, I went back later. I was like, ugh, I don't like this. So I went back in and I just fixed the edge a little bit. Sometimes it's just my eye. Other people can't see it. They think it's beautiful, but there's something about it that was bothering me. And it was that edge that what I'm working on, that was bothering me. So I go back in and I fix it up. A little bit of orange and then a little bit of the tangerine and then a little bit of that red mixture to blend that in. Blend, blend, blend. Word of the day, blend. A darker shadow down there. That was the red with a little bit of brown. The contrast wasn't quite right for me, so I really wanted to fix it. Going in with more of that tangerine color. Let it dry. Added some more of the reddy color. Now it's kind of turning out the way I wanted to. Refining that edge again with some white and yellow. Now at the very end, you're gonna see a picture of this flower completed with a glow around it. I wanted to add a glow behind the flower so it didn't just look like flower and then black. And I recorded it. Well, I thought I recorded it, but I ended up just taking a picture of it instead. So I missed that process. So at the end, there's a picture of the flower with a glow around it. And I'll explain how I did that. Going over the edge here, highlighting with some yellow and white. Adding a little more contrast in there. This is just the end final touches, you know, those little tweaks that really finish it up. Now for the glow at the end, I went in with some yellow and a very little bit of yellow and a soft brush, and I just went around the flower behind it and I just blended it in to the black, and it created a beautiful glow like it was backlit. You're gonna see that in a couple of seconds. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a little bit of a struggle, I'm not gonna lie, this flower, but in the end, I love the result. It's a beautiful color, and I hope you try it out. Thank you so much for joining me again. See you next time. Bye.